Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Many men are afraid to fail. And this was, two things. This was requested by a young man named Darren Brown. I want y'all to remember that. Or is it Darren or Deron? Brother, tell me in the comments. Whatever the case, you remember that young man's name. He writes over at the Negro Manosphere. Powerful young man. Young man coming up. Like I said, I mean, he got some things going on, a brother got some stuff. So, when he requests something, I'm like, shit, I gotta just do, I just gotta do it right away. But, like I said, check him out at the Negro Manosphere, as well as check out the Negro Manosphere in general. It got some powerful articles, powerful medium for black men to talk about the issues we're going to talk about. And speaking of black men, this is also brought to you by Luxe Tailored. And the link is in the description box. That's a website owned by a young man who can... The thing with that's more about style. You can go to that site and actually get custom made suits and shirts made for yourself. Listen to what I'm saying. Custom made, tailored suits for your size and everything made. So I want y'all to check that out, right? Now to the topic at hand. Many men are afraid to fail. You know what? And this was something brought out by Mr. Brown. And, I thought about that. That's a big thing. You know what? There's many, not all, of course. Let's get that straight. But there are many men who don't go out there and really do what they can do because they're afraid to fail. It's not like they don't have the talent. In fact, they probably do. We mostly talk about relationships on here. Many men will see that beautiful woman that they want to approach or they want to say hi to. But then they don't. And the reason why is because they're afraid of rejection, which, is just another way of saying, okay, you failed. So they don't approach the woman, and then they get into some what ifs and everything, and that actually creates a loop for them where they don't go for it not only with women but other areas of life. I'm gonna tell you something now. You know why I know what I know about women? Because I'm gonna tell you something now, and I told you how I feel about that. People lying on their dick and everything. That being said, I've dealt with a lot of women. Whether it was sexually or some women saying, get the fuck out of her face. And I'm cool with that. I'm going to tell you what. I learned more about myself and about women from failing. Let me say that again. I learned more from failure. Because I wasn't afraid to fail. I wasn't afraid to just go out and just go holler at a woman. Like, that started when I was little. Now, come on now. Think about something. When I was younger, first of all, right, in the 80s, and, this a whole other subject, but Chocolate Brothers weren't in until, 1989, about when Wesley Snipes was stroking this woman in Mo Better Blues, right? So... if I'm approaching a woman back then, they weren't so down for it. In fact, I had a couple women say, it got back to me. They say, he cute, except if he'd be all right if he wasn't so dark. So, I was catching some rejection. I didn't give a fuck. I wasn't afraid to fail. In fact, this one thing I did a couple times until a woman actually stopped me and corrected me, right? I would actually walk up to a woman, give her my phone number, and then walk away. I would just walk up to her, tell her my phone number, my name, my phone number, and then just walk away. Actually, I had one woman call because of that, too. But one called, the other ones, I think I did that about 6 or 7 times, right? I say 7 times, right? One did call. 5 just outright, yeah, whatever. They were cruel about it, right? And then, one day actually say, hold up, babe, hold up. You can't be doing it like that. She actually stopped me and talked to me a little bit. She was a little bit older. I mean, if I was doing that when I was about 15. She was an older woman. She was 17. So she took me to the side and said it. But my point was, I wasn't afraid to. I wasn't afraid to fail, And that's not just with women. And see, well, let me stress that point a little bit more. A lot of dudes out here relationship-wise just afraid to fail, so they afraid of rejection. I'm like, shoot, I got a thick skin of it, because the thing with failure, you learn what doesn't work. I learned walking up to women, just telling them my phone number has a low percentage of working. And so every time I would just look at every failure, I would look at it and say, okay, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I ain't even ask anybody. I'll just say, all right. She wasn't interested. Then that's when I really learned, it was really applied. Somebody had told me before about women choosing, but, I'm going to tell you what, most dudes got to find out stuff on their own. I mean, anybody can tell you to do whatever, but at the end of the day, you got to go out and do it. So I would that's when I really figured it out about women choosing men, because I said, okay, the women who were receptive, the ones who smiled at me first, looked my way, or kind of made it easy for me to approach. The ones who weren't were the ones like not smiling, have a defensive body language and stuff. So I said, okay, that's how I learned. You learn through failure. And I'm just using that example for women, right? Just in relationships, just in life. Now I'm pretty successful now business-wise. In fact, I've worked with the federal government, and yet this will be my most successful year money-wise, with only bigger things to come. So I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, though. I've been hustling business since my senior year in college. Here's the thing: for all my successes now, I've had a lot of failures. I had a troll one time, right? Try to get on me. You know how trolls do. It's like, oh, you failed. I'm like, I'm proud of that shit. I'm trying to double my failure rate, because it means you're trying, you figuring it out. Now, I know what businesses I'm good at. I know what things I'm good at, because I knew what things I wasn't good at. I wasn't afraid to get out there. I wasn't afraid to try. I wasn't afraid to push myself. Even dealing with the government, working there. There were some things to even get in there I had to push myself for, and I can't get into that publicly. But I had to go beyond what I was, but I wasn't afraid to fail. Because my thing is, and I use this principle. I tell this to my guys on my subscription site. Like, if you really want some deep stuff from me, y'all check out my subscription site. Y'all check out my Patreon. But I tell my guys this, because in general, I'm not big on approaching women. I'm not. Because, one, it gives women a lot of power when you approach them, especially a cold approach if they haven't chosen you. But that being said, I say if you see a real fine woman, and a man got to use what I call the damn principle. The damn principle is very simple. If you look at a woman and the word damn come out your mouth, you go approach her. Like, if I see a woman, I'm like, God damn. Hey, girl. And I said the worst she could do, and I told guys, I said the worst she can do is tell you to get the fuck out of her face. That's the worst she can do. Most will be just kind of polite about it, whatever. But, and I told guys under that circumstance, it's better to approach and fail than not approach and regret and think about it for a long time. But you still got to have the mindset, I'm not scared. Because you never know when you're going to get that damn principle, that thunderbolt. I talked about it in a video a long time ago. That thing talked about it in The Godfather. You just see that woman, she's so fine, felt like you got hit by something. Shoot, you got to approach that. I don't care. Forget all these rules and what you supposed to shoot. I see that woman with a pretty face and a butt dunk. Oh, no, I'm hollering. I'm hollering unless I spy a ring on her finger. That's the only time I don't approach. So it's like, but, you can't have that fear. You got to be comfortable with failure, I remember when I was going out for freshman football at my high school. I remember one of the coaches, I'll never forget this because I followed this all my life. He said, there's nothing wrong with failure. There's nothing wrong with falling down as long as you don't stay down. And I would say this, when you fail, you learn. You learn from the experience. Like any guy out here, I know I talk a lot about what guys need to do, but I tell a lot of guys I coach, I say, you got to get out there. Stop sitting here trying to ask for everything or all these techniques and just agreeing, but you got to get out there. You got to do the work. That's the only way you're going to find out. That's all you going. There's been plenty of times because I wasn't afraid to fail. I see some women. There's been some women. Like I said, damn principle. I will cold approach. There's been some women who weren't smiling, showing any choosing signals, and I approached, and then they all of a sudden smiled because I wasn't afraid to fail. And too many men in this generation. I'm gonna tell you what. One of the things, because you got so many women. I'm gonna get a little political now. So many women talking about shit like toxic masculinity. That's got to be the dumbest ass motherfucking thing I've heard in my fucking life. Toxic masculinity. Yeah, it's not toxic masculinity when you and your house, you and your man is in the house and you hear that sound downstairs and somebody doing it. Or at that point, you want a toxic man. You want some vicious ass man then. Or ain't toxic masculinity when these guys out here building roads and stuff. See, it's funny with women. I'm going to do another video on it. It's going to be a Rom rant. Because you get tired of hearing this bullshit. All right? I was about to go in a whole other direction. Right now, we just talking about that failure thing. Too many men are afraid just to fail in life. There's nothing wrong with that. I've had a couple people mention something about tattoos to me, like, hey, Ron, maybe if you get a tattoo here or there. I tell people my tattoos are my scars. Whenever I look at a scar, I know that was something I didn't need to do. That was my lesson. That's my scars are my tattoos. Those are times I've fallen down. When women who might have did me wrong, everything. Every time I just look at it and just say, you know what? I'm good with that because I learned. I ain't afraid to go for it. Because that's why I'm having this video right now because I wasn't afraid to go for it. So anyway, and then out there, look, go for it. What's the worst that can do? It ain't gonna kill you. Yeah, if it's some daredevil shit, don't be like trying to like scale up some skyscraper or something and shit. You might have some issues you need to deal with. But, just in life, you can't be afraid to fail. Fail, you gonna fail. Every woman you approach ain't gonna want you. Every business you start ain't gonna be like gold. Shoot, you ain't gonna always get that job on, the first job you go for. Shoot, somebody always gonna failure is a part of life because failure makes us grow, right? Failure makes us grow. So anyway, right, that's it for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.